In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the topic of are we in an alt season? This is a topic of controversy as of late. I've been in a little bit of a back and forth with Benjamin Cowen on this topic on X. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing my thesis on why I believe we are in alt season and are in the beginning stages of alt season. So if that sounds interesting, please make sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're brand new, and we'll get straight into it. For those of you who are interested in following my buy and sell alerts and joining a Discord community that never sleeps with voice chats open 24/7, check out the VIP link down below. I just made a 22x on Troll or something around that. If you're interested in those types of gains, check it out. So I got into a bit of a Twitter or X spat, you could say, with Benjamin Cowen because I gave him a reply to this post. Now, he essentially claimed this is not an alt season, this is ETH season. Let's not confuse the two. Now, some people are saying this debate may be semantics, right? We're actually in more agreement than what it seems. But I want to make it very clear. For an alt season, you probably need an ETH season as well, okay? And Ethereum is an altcoin. That's what people need to realize. Ethereum is the king leading altcoin. And if Ethereum's pumping, that is an indication of an alt season in and of itself. Okay. Ethereum pumping is indicative of an alt season because Ethereum is the biggest altcoin. Now, I don't know why he's trying to put Ethereum in some separate category, but we all understand the crypto money flow dynamic, right? You basically have money flowing from Bitcoin into large caps, into mid caps, into low caps, right? Or Bitcoin into Ethereum, into high caps, into low caps. Everyone knows this chart that we've all seen. So I don't understand why he's trying to complicate it. If we are entering an alt season, which I believe we're in, then it makes sense that Ethereum would be pumping. Because at the first signs, you see the bigger coins pump first, right? And right now it's Ethereum. Then it will probably be the likes of Solana, XRP, BNB, and then it will come down into some of those mid caps. So I don't understand where the disagreement is here and where the area for disagreement is, you know? So I went on to say it's the start of an alt season. First, the money flows into ETH, and then it trickles down the ranks. This all happens very swiftly. I do not understand how someone can disagree with this statement. It's the start of the alt season. First, the money flows into ETH, and then it trickles down the ranks. This all happens very swiftly. How can you disagree with that? Total 3 has had a structural breakout. Bitcoin dominance is falling off a cliff, something which I called, by the way, at the top at 66%, whilst many other prominent influencers were calling for it to go much higher. They were calling for the 70s. Okay, I was saying, no, we're not going to go to the 70s. It's going to be a lower high, and it's probably going to be around the 786 fib level, around 66%. Once I saw that, once I saw how high the RSIs were, I called the top on dominance, and I told my followers this is the time to enter altcoins. Now, Benjamin Cowen, of course, would say, no, don't enter altcoins. It's not going to be alt season. Whilst we're seeing right now great gains across the board on altcoins. Now, he would say, oh, I'm not talking about your altcoins, but the reality is right now, altcoins, including Ethereum, which is the biggest altcoin, are outperforming BTC. And they have been outperforming BTC since around the end of June, middle to end of June, when I called the top on Bitcoin dominance. Now we're actually seeing a breakdown at the golden pocket level at the 618 fib. Now, this would indicate that we're probably going to go even lower on dominance, down to that 0.5 fib level, around 56%. So I don't understand at what point Benjamin Cowen says it's acceptable to be in altcoins, but to me right now is a good time. It was an even better time to pivot to altcoins when I was buying them, when we were seeing these signs of Bitcoin dominance topping. And already I'm up 2, 3, 4, 5x on a lot of altcoins. I even made a 20x on a meme coin, Troll. But, you know, that's besides the point. But I'm trying to say is you can make a ton of money just off a very small drop in dominance, just a 5%, just a 10% drop. And to me, this is still the very beginning. Total 3 hasn't made an all-time high yet. I believe it will in the coming weeks. And that will just further validate my point that we are in the beginning of an alt season. there's some debate as to how high we'll go. I'm personally saying I think we'll hit the 1.618 fib on total 3, which is just shy of 1.5 trillion. I think Ethereum will make a marginal all-time high this bull run. I know a lot of people think it will go to, 10K or 15K. I'm personally not calling that for Ethereum. I think somewhere around 6K, maybe 7 is a reasonable target for ETH, okay? Because it hasn't really been an ETH dominant cycle, and I don't think it will be an ETH dominant cycle, besides the fact that Benjamin Cowen is saying that we're in ETH season rather than alt season. I honestly think that's just being too technical, kind of just, semantics. At the end of the day, to be in an alt season, you also probably need Ethereum pumping. So, yeah, it's just overcomplicating things, which aren't really that complicated. And then he tries to, prove me wrong. And he's like, you said this back then because I claimed in November that we were entering alt season because we saw many signs that November was going to be an alt season. And I would still say to this day, November to January, the Trump pump was an alt season. It was a mini alt season. I mean, out of all the top coins, right, in the top kind of 10, loads of them made new all-time highs. Right? If we go and look at the top 10, we'll go through them here. Besides Ethereum, we had Bitcoin make an all-time high. It's not an altcoin, so we're not going to count that. But XRP made an all-time high. BNB made an all-time high. Solana made an all-time high. And Tron made an all-time high. So basically, every coin in the top 5, apart from ETH, made an all-time high. Is that not an alt season? Is that not some form of altcoin outperformance to Bitcoin when you go and look at dominance back then and how far it came down, right? It came from 61% all the way down to 54%. Now, yes, that is not the same typical drawdown that we've seen in previous cycles, like in 2017 or 2021, but it is still nonetheless some form of an alt season. You could call it a tamed alt season, a mini alt season, a small alt season, whatever you want to call it, but it was some form of an alt season. So even though, yes, we then dumped in Q1 2025, which I didn't expect, I'll be honest about that. November to January was still some form of an altcoin season looking back. It was just a smaller alt season than we're typically used to. Anyway, I then went on to say that there have already been 2 mini alt seasons this bull run. One was in kind of April 2024. Remember when gaming coins pumped a ton? And we had that first run on Pepe and things like that. There was a ton of retail hype back then. And the other was in November to January 2025. I asked him, did you not see Solana, Tron, BNB, and XRP all made all-time highs this cycle? Some people forget that, right? So anyway, he's calling it a dead cat bounce. I'm calling it a mini alt season. A lot of it's semantics at the end of the day. But the core thing that I disagree with Benjamin Cowen is this statement here. This is not alt season. That's the statement I disagree with. That is my issue. A lot of the other things he says on his channel, I'm not against. He seems like a decently, knowledgeable guy. Yes, he's wrong from time to time, but aren't we all, right? This is my issue. He's in denial because he's had this thesis with altcoins hitting their Bitcoin range lows and Bitcoin dominance going to a certain level. Right now, he's in disbelief, and that's fine, right? A lot of people are in disbelief. It's a common phase of the psychology of an alt season. You have the disbelief phase. And right now, Benjamin Cowen is in disbelief. He's in that phase of the psychological graph. I believe this is an alt season. We'll see how big it will be, whether we get, to 1.5 trillion on total 3 or 2 trillion on total 3 or whatever. Time will tell. But by many definitions, this is an alt season. And that's another thing, right? Alt season could be something which is up for debate as to how you define it. Okay. It's a term which isn't necessarily clearly defined. There's some leeway and some kind of interpretations of the definition. It's not necessarily black and white, right? But the statement that he made, I think, is actually quite oxymoronic. This is not an alt season. This is an ETH season. That doesn't make sense. Ethereum is an altcoin. To have an alt season, you probably need an ETH season as well. You need Ethereum to be pumping too, because it's the king altcoin. So this statement in itself it's void of logic. It's an oxymoron. It's just not making sense to me. That's really where I had the issue. But yeah, we can see drawdown in dominance. We can see even just today, right? Bitcoin is down today. Ethereum's up 5% on the week. Bitcoin's up 3% on the week. Ethereum's up 25%. XRP is up 16%. BNB's up 8%. Solana's up 14%. Doge is up 25%. I mean, where exactly is Bitcoin outperforming altcoins here? Literally every altcoin on the week is outperforming Bitcoin. So I think Benjamin Cowen's in denial. Maybe he'll admit it. I don't know. But honestly, got nothing against the guy. I think he's one of the better influencers in the space. Most people in the space just do a ton of paid promotions. They pump scams and stuff like that. I don't do any paid promotions. I don't think he does. So, I give him some credit where it's due. I just fundamentally disagree with the statement that we are not in alt season. Anyway, thank you for checking out the video. And make sure to check out that VIP group linked down below if you want to see my real-time buy and sell alerts. As I've said, I've made 20x's, 10x's, 5x's, 2x's, 3x's, left, right, and center in the past few weeks. To me, I'm feeling an alt season, right? I don't know about you, but to me, I am currently experiencing an alt season. And one of the plays was Troll. You can see my VIP group never sleeps. It's literally active 24/7. There's a voice chat open right now. People are going through the charts, looking at the fibs. It's kind of like an educational class right now. Honestly, guys, if you want to learn crypto to the level which I know crypto, then you definitely want to get in the group and give yourself that competitive edge. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.